Heat.
We don't know what heat is.
Right. Well, San Francisco heat. The difference is we don't have air conditioning. So
you're live on Facebook.
okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. I know it's a hot day, hottest day of the year here in San Francisco. Welcome to the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee, also known as the San Francisco Democratic Party. My name is Honey Mahogany. I am chair, and we are bringing this meeting on Wednesday, August 23rd to order. Again, welcome to the meeting. We are right on the heels of coming out of the executive board meeting of the California Democratic Party. There was an email that was sent out with updates. Thank you, Executive Director Garcia, for sending that out earlier. Those are updates on what happened this weekend in Visalia. It was also hot and warm, but also very muggy, but we got a lot of work done. So thank you to all the Democrats from San Francisco who represented us in Visalia this weekend. I think it was really important for us to go down to the Central Valley. That being said, we do have actually a couple things. One is that we are actually having a event that is happening right now in partnership with Banny's, which is a viewing party for the Republican debates for president. So I'm going, in the interest of keeping this meeting short, we're going to be tabling quite a few things just to make sure that we move along and people are able to go and attend that event. Unfortunately, we couldn't control when the Republicans were having their debate night. So we're going to have to make do. But in the meantime, why don't we get this party started? And I know we have our recording secretary, Lee, on here. Are you ready to call the roll?
I am. Thank you, Chair Mahogany. All right, I'll just call your name and let me know if you're here or not. Member Avalos. I have Member Galata as proxy.
Yes, present by proxy. Sorry.
Thank you. Member Baraka. I see you. All right. Member Barry.
Present.
Member Campos. Member Chen.
Here.
Member Dufty. Member Galata.
Present.
Member Ibanez.
Present.
Member Kim. Member Lacroix.
Present.
Member Lee is here. Member Loftus. Member Lovett. I have
Annabelle is proxy.
great.
Member Ibanez is proxy.
Chair Mahogany.
Here.
Member Mandelman. Member Barr. Member Maliga. And welcome, Member Peraza.
Here, thank you.
Member Raju.
Zaki Shaheen here as proxy.
Thank you. Member Ronan. Member Thomas.
Here by proxy.
Member Tong.
Here.
Member Williams. Member Zoe.
Here.
Member Feinstein is excused. Member Pelosi.
Here by proxy.
Member Mullen. Member Kounalakis.
Present.
Thank you. Member Ma.
Here by proxy.
Member Cohen.
Hasib Imran here, present by proxy.
Member Weiner. Member Haney. And Member Ting. And going back up, Member Dufty, I see you here now. All right, if you do attend the meeting, I didn't catch you, please just note it in chat. But Chair Mahogany, we do have quorum.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Recording Secretary Lee. I will now move on to the approval of the meeting minutes. I believe we need some more time with that. Member Barry, I see you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Yeah, just a point of information. Does Member Mullen know he's a part of this body? Because I called his office and they didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh, yes, he does know, and we've been in communication with his office.
Okay, thank you.
But maybe they were confused. Yes, he's on this body, and he's also on the San Mateo County Democratic Party. So, but we've informed him and we've asked him to start attending this meeting. So thank you, Member Barry. Going back to the approval of the meeting agenda, or I'm sorry, the approval of the meeting minutes. I believe we need a little more time with those. So can I have a motion to table the meeting minutes until the following meeting?
So moved.
Member Duffy.
Second.
And the second was from
Queena.
Nina? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think we can do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you so much. We will get to those at the next meeting. We're now moving on to the approval of the meeting agenda. Oh, I took those out of order. Apologies. That was supposed to go first. So a couple things about the agenda. One is we do have some amendments to make a resolution calling for greater eviction protections for permanent supportive housing tenants brought forward by Member Duffy. Additionally, we've already voted to move the meeting minutes, which is great. But we are also going to, I'd also like to propose an amendment to the agenda to table the officer reports, again, in the interest of time, given that we have a conflicting event currently. So can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
So
So
moved.
moved. Or second.
Okay, I heard that from Member Banez and was the second from Vice Chair Galata.
Devon.
Bevan, thank you so much. I believe we can also do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Member Barry, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was normal for us to attend Republican debates.
Well,
'Cause-
yes, sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering because we're voting on amending our agenda so that we can go to a Republican event.
Thank you for the question. We're not going to a Republican event. We're going to a Democratic Party event so that we can watch the Republican debate so that we know what they're running on as people who will be running against them and making sure that, we understand the playing field. I think it's important that we inform ourselves and our members of what's going on. So we're doing this in partnership with Manny's, and it will be all Democrats there, or mostly Democrats there, I would assume, maybe some Green Party folks and others. But this was an event that has been in the books for a while.
Okay, I'm voting no.
Okay, that is noted. Thank you, Member Barry. Any abstentions? All right, seeing none, we'll now move on to general public comments, that approves the agenda. We'll now move on to general public comment. And for this portion, I'll turn things over to our Executive Director, Moises Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. If you would like to make public comment, please use the raise hand function, which can be found at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you're listening to this meeting via your phone, please dial *9 to enter the queue. If you encounter any difficulties, please send an email to info@sfdemocrats.org. Each member of the public will have 2 minutes to address the SFDCCC. Associate SFDCCC members have floor privileges and may exceed the 2-minute time limit. I'll promote you in the order that I see your hands raised. Please note that Zoom will notify you when you are being promoted to a panelist. Please click join as panelist to give public comments. And thank you in advance for your patience. At this moment, I see 3 members of the public, and I will bring them up. First is Susan Pfeiffer, followed by David Elliott Lewis and Christian Evans, and then Jordan Davis. Go ahead, Susan.
Good evening, Democrats. I will keep this short, and the reason I'm insisting on doing it tonight is we just came back from the e-board meetings where the new organizing committee had their first major meeting to organize, and we are part of that. We are tasked with working in the Central Valley, and we're actually starting our first phone bank this Saturday. We're going to move our phone banks from Wednesday afternoons to Saturday mornings, 10 to noon, because we can reach more people and more people can come. We're going to actually be calling on in 3 states, as I learned this morning. We're going to be calling for Virginia for their regular elections for the House of Delegates and state senators. It's critical because we lost control of the House of Delegates by 1 vote last year when a Democrat flipped Republican. So we're holding on by a fingernail. If we lose both houses, Governor I forgot his name, but anyhow, he wants to pass draconian anti-abortion rules. And if we lose control of the state legislature, that's a goner. And it's the only southern state that we have control of abortion rights right now. So, and their elections are in November. I learned this morning that we're going to be calling for Ohio because that special election that we beat back, where they wanted to change the Constitution to change the threshold for passing constitutional amendments. We won there, but now we have to pass the actual constitutional amendment that will enshrine Roe in the state constitution. That election is this November. So we're going to be phone banking there within the next week. And then lastly, we're going to be calling CA 13 and CA 22 are forever districts in the Central Valley that we lost just barely last time. And we think with proper organizing and reaching out that we can do that. We're recruiting volunteers to phone bank. We'll be at the 541 Castro as usual. And we also need Spanish speakers. So anyone here who knows any Spanish speakers or is in a club that has any, please let me know and I will get scripts in Spanish for them. That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is David Elliott Lewis.
Hello, our Democratic Central Committee party. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm also co-chair of the Tenderloin People's Congress. We're a residents association. And we've taken a principled stand recently on what's happening with the food justice issue in the Central City area. The Park and Rec Department is forcing our 4-decade-long farmers market to be put on a Fulton Street parking lot, which will hurt the farmers. I spent today speaking to the farmers one-on-one and learned that no one has done outreach to them or regarding this forced relocation from the UN Plaza, where they've been for 42 years, to this asphalt parking lot, which is going to be much less space. It's going to squeeze them together. There's all kinds of problems. The farmers are really upset, but the board of directors has been made an offer, mafia style, like you have to accept this or else. So they went along with it. But the individual farmers, no one talked to them. They're not happy. I spoke to Steve Pulliman, who's the director of the farmers market. He's not happy. And I just I'm asking maybe for in a future meeting, maybe not this one, to take up this issue and maybe make a resolution in support of our heart of the city farmers market. It's the only fresh, healthy food for the Tenderloin and Central City area. We have no supermarket. It's a food desert. And we really need support that protect what little healthy food we have. And we're about to have our market endangered. Some of the farmers say they're not going to relocate. They're going to abandon our farmers market. Anyway, I'm almost out of time, but thank you for all your good works as our Democratic Central Committee. And we ask for your support on this issue. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for your comments, David. Next up is Jordan Davis, followed by Kristen Evans. Go ahead, Jordan. Jordan, we're having difficulty hearing you. You might want to turn off your video.
To help alleviate the issue. So anyway, I just want to say I'm in support of the PSH evictions resolution because that's really necessary and we really need to pressure HSH to do the right thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Jordan. Next is Kristen Evans.
Hello, Democratic Party. Kristen Evans, also a lifelong Democrat. I am calling in to speak on behalf of the resolution for changing the evictions policy for PSH tenants. The Chronicle did some remarkable reporting that uncovered that the city has been responsible for evicting hundreds of people from permanent supportive housing for many of the same reasons that qualified them for the housing in the first place. City spending money on both sides of the equation to spend money to try to get people into housing, and then the process to actually evict them from housing is obviously ridiculous. And we have taken a close look at what could be done to ameliorate the situation. The current HSH policy is non-binding. It's guidance only. So a very basic step is to compel the providers that are providing supportive housing to agree to specific terms to allow tenants to do things that will alleviate the likelihood of them becoming evicted. That includes some very basic things like allowing people to pay their rent by electronic payment. Currently, there are some providers that require somebody go and get a money order at the beginning of the month, every month. It also would suggest that we improve the grievance process or add mediation or arbitration. That might take a little bit longer and maybe some legislation, but we do encourage the department to respond to the recommendations that were put forward by the PSH tenants and their advocates at the Homeless Oversight Committee meeting this past month. The HSH Homeless Oversight body is made up of 4 mayoral appointees and 3 supervisor appointees. And we've even had just difficulty getting this particular discussion agendized on the calendar a couple of meetings. So it's just, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
There is one more person with their hand raised, Lisa Murkowski, but there's 2. Liza, if you could accept the invitation to be a panelist, would be great. I'm also going to promote Alter Batter. Go ahead, Liza.
Good evening, and thank you. My name is Liza Morawski, and I'm here to also support the PSH evictions. We've been working on it for a long time, and there's been a major influx of evictions based on retaliation and nuisance, right? They're being blamed for nuisance, and then it's retaliation, and a lot of these units are not being refilled. And there's no proper assessments. So as Chris Evans just mentioned, or Commissioner Evans mentioned, the cycle is perpetual, and we know that the coordinated entry and the grievance process has to be dismantled and recreated. So I ask for your support on the PHS eviction and the red mapping that we did of the document, and that you consider it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Alter Batter.
Thank you, committee. I wanted to echo Kristen and Lisa on support of the evictions piece that's been brought before you. On a personal note, as an associate marriage and family therapist, I currently have a client who, after years of waiting for placement and is living in our housing that the Department of Public Housing is providing, she is now fighting with local management and does not have any way to actually prevent her eviction. She's dealing with, I think it's John Stewart Company, who is the proxy for the city, who does the leasing. I believe that the evictions bill that has been presented to you addresses this and other issues where we have a cycle here that could be interrupted. I have to advocate for this client and find the right party to intercede before their housing is taken away because of some bureaucratic mishap. Not for lack of her ability to pay rent, just want you to know. If you want more information on this, you can reach out to me, but thank you for making some time for my voice. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Madam Chair, that exhausts the list. That exhausts the folks wishing to speak in public comment.
Thank you, Director Garcia. And thank you to the members of the public who made their voice heard today. We'll now move on to item number 6, which is a resolution calling for greater eviction protections for permanent supportive housing tenants. This is brought forward by Member Duffy. Can I have a motion to consider this resolution, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Delacroix, seconded by Member Duffy. Member Duffy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you, colleagues. And first, I just want to point out that this resolution is the result of working on a grassroots basis with Jordan Davis and others who spoke tonight and have been involved in this process. And I want to genuinely thank Jordan for her leadership and her political acumen and her courage. And I want to also acknowledge Kristen Evans, who is my colleague on the Homeless Oversight Commission. I think it is terrible that we don't have strict rules and that we're not leveraging resources that the city has in the health department and the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing to wrap around people that are facing a crisis and facing eviction. These individuals that are being evicted are going to wind up costing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. We've even seen people costing more than $1 million trying to mitigate homelessness on the street for people. And the fact of the matter is that the city could do much more to make the buildings in the Tenderloin. The decision was made generations ago to retain our SROs and our other housing stock for low-income people, but these are not healthy buildings in many cases. And I think that there's need for oversight. And I very much appreciate Chanel Williams, who's been so involved with Prop C, stepping up to be a co-author, and I welcome any other members. And thank you so very much for considering this, and I hope you can vote for it.
Thank you, Member Duffy. I would also like to be added as a co-sponsor. And I see we have some folks who'd like to provide comment. Member Barry.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair, I would like to ask Member Duffy if in the, I'm sorry, I'm trying to minimize my screen. In the resolved, where it says, so blind, with my glasses, where it says, to prevent evictions and permanent supportive housing, did you want an and there? Do you want to prevent permanent supportive housing?
You're muted, Duffy.
I apologize. I do not have the resolution in front of me, so if I would, accept as a friendly amendment if I'm missing a word, I'm happy to have that added.
Maybe my friendly amendment could be to adopt the above mentioned recommended policy to prevent evictions in permanent
Supportive housing.
supportive housing instead of
Yeah.
and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so very much.
No problem. And also I wanted to thank you for bringing this resolution forward. I have personal experience from being homeless for 3 years. And I also have experience from being a desk clerk in a SRO. And I saw the petty reasons that management chose to hold over certain tenants' heads on why they wanted them out the building. And just the example that rings the loudest to me is the visitor policy. The visitor policy, once a person is visited by a visitor in the same day, if that person wants to leave out, even to go to the store just to get some water, they are not allowed to come back in, or that is a ding on them and a possibility for a reason to get evicted. And I had a person in hospice that I was supposed to report that his visitor was coming in and out to go to the store and whatnot. And I refused, I want that person who's dying to have a visitor. So thank you. And other than that, I support this and I've asked to be added to this as a co-sponsor.
Thank you so much.
Mr. McCoy for Speaker Emeritus Pelosi.
Thank you. I just wanted to apologize, given my schedule being out of pocket for about a week, visiting with my grandmother. I was not able to check in with Speaker Emerita Pelosi on this item, so we'll be abstaining tonight.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Member Ibanez.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Lee Mia Lovett as her proxy. She asked me to read the following statement. The City Department of Homelessness has done an incredible job in creating permanent housing, or PSH, through the state and local dollars. At the same time, the city's pulse in housing the homeless are meaningful to the extent that our vulnerable populations stay housed. I support this resolution on preventing evictions from PSH. It is important to reform policy so that they are truly supportive. And I don't think that the city can play a role in creating guidelines. And I do think that the city can play a role in creating guidelines and working with the nonprofit housing providers to have more uniform standards in PSH policies. In my day job, I've heard from housing providers about the challenges they face with non-payment, which has worsened under COVID. Good case management is important in supporting and working with the tenants to ensure that they have the resources and ability to pay. And there needs to be a collaborative effort to ensure the financial solvency of the organizations doing this challenging work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Member Ibanez. Are there any others who'd like to make comment on this resolution? Okay, seeing none, is there a, would anyone like to make a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Member Barry, seconded by Vice Chair Baraka. I think we can do this one by acclamation as well. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? And I know Speaker Pelosi is abstaining. Are there any other abstentions?
Controller Cohen would like to abstain too, please. Thank you.
Controller Cohen and Member Tung as well.
Yes, thank you. Member Tung abstains.
And Kunalakis as well. I was texted by her proxy.
All right, thank you so much. We will now move on to our next agenda item, which is a new business. I do actually have some new business I would like to introduce. So generally speaking, the Democratic Party has taken November and December off for the holiday season. Unfortunately, due to endorsements happening, we are going to have to meet basically before December. So we will be meeting in November in order to make up for that, and also in order for us to really plan for our upcoming fundraiser. We are going to be taking September off and then meeting in November to go through our endorsement process. And this is something that has been discussed with the executive board, as well as the issues chair, Lima Lovett, who was a part of this process. So we'll be making sure that we meet again. Actually, I'm sorry, in early December, not November, in early December, to make sure that we make any endorsements necessary for local ballot measures and Superior Court judges as needed. So that is one update that I have. We're also going to be experimenting with meeting in person again. We've heard that we would like to meet in person. And so when we do come back in October, we may be actually doing that and meeting in person. We're looking to find a location currently, and we will email that out and duly notice it as appropriate so that everyone can know where we will be meeting. But we've heard loud and clear that people want to meet in person again. And so we may be doing so in October. All right, that's all the new business I have. Does anyone else have new business? Member Barry?
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I have new business. We all voted to, not all of us, but we did pass as a body to support reparations report. Well, the hearing where the Board of Supervisors will be receiving that report and voting on whether they support it or not will be September 19th. The rally will be on City Hall steps at 12 p.m. and the hearing will be at 3 p.m. And we also want to encourage the mayor to spend $2 million that was budgeted to open that office of reparations. And also, this coming Tuesday, we need to keep our eyes open, whether you're for it or not. There's going to be a vote at the school board on whether to close several San Francisco public schools. So we all need to be keeping our eye on that. I would have had a resolution ready tonight, but I just didn't have the capacity. But that's my announcements. Thank you.
Is there any other new business?
Hi, yes, Vice Chair Lacroix speaking. Since we are not meeting in September, I'd just like to remind everybody that our next Sunday Streets tabling event is September 24th. I would love to see more members of our Democratic County Central Committee there and participating. And thank you to Vice Chair Galata and Associate Member Ochoa for helping with our July 30th Sunday Streets.
Thank you so much. Are there any other announcements? Okay, lastly, I just remind everyone that September 30th is our big gala honoring Speaker Emerita Pelosi, Senate Pro Tem Tony Atkins, and also Treasurer Secretary for the California Labor Federation Council, Lorena Gonzalez. So we're very excited. It's looking like it's going to be a really great program, and we're going to have a full house. So make sure you buy your tickets, and if you can do a sponsorship or buy a table, we would love to have your support. So those tickets are selling out though, so please do so soon. I'm sorry, the sponsorships are selling out. Individual tickets will be available starting in September. All right, we'll now move on to in memoriams, and I actually have a few, unfortunately. There were several, I think, deaths of note that happened recently within the community. The first one is Damian Gonzalez, who was shot and killed while playing basketball with friends in the Mission Recreation Center on Harrison Street on August 18th. Gonzalez was a recent graduate of Civic Center Secondary School and someone who volunteered with the Latino Task Force. And his friends and family in the Mission District are mourning his death at 18 years old, and he was also a father-to-be. Additionally, yesterday I was able to attend a memorial and rally around the killing of a 4-year-old girl who was being pushed in a stroller when she was struck and hit by a car while crossing the street in the South of Market area in Mission Bay. Her father was also injured and remains hospitalized in life-threatening conditions. So, we really are hoping that he will recover, and sending his family our deepest condolences. And then more nationally, I think many of us have heard about O'Shea Sibley, who was a 28-year-old dancer who was stabbed to death at a Brooklyn gas station on Saturday, July 29th. He was dancing and voguing with some of his friends, and a group of men began to hurl homophobic slurs and eventually ended up stabbing Sibley to death. So a very, very tragic situation. I will say also that Sibley was in that moment trying to de-escalate the situation and, just saying that they didn't want any trouble. And lastly, there is Lori Carlton, a wife and mother of 9. She's a business owner and in Lake Arrowhead, California. She was flying a rainbow flag, and unfortunately there was somebody who had a problem with that and tore it down. And when she confronted him about tearing down her flag, he ended up shooting and killing her. So there are a lot of people across the country who are mourning her death. She herself was not LGBTQ, but this anti-LGBTQ rhetoric that is being spewed by specifically the Republican Party and many on the right is really having an impact that this doesn't just affect trans people, it doesn't just affect queer people, it affects all of us. And this is a great example of how that is the case. So, I think that's why it's so important to fight for our rights and for against discrimination. That's why we do so much of the work that we do here in the Democratic Party. And, it's really unfortunate that we have had these deaths just in this last month. So I'd like to adjourn the meeting in their names. Is there anyone else who would like to add anything to the in memoriams? Okay, seeing none, the name of O'Shea Sibley, Damian Gonzalez, Lori Carlton, and the 4-year-old girl who passed, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much.
There's a hand raised.
Oh, is there? I'm sorry, I was looking at attendees. Sorry, Jupiter, yes. Member Peraza.
Thank you so much, Chair Mahogany. I would like to see if it would be possible to include another individual in the in-memoriam section. And this individual is Lisette Sanchez. She was a trans activist and she recently passed away. She was one of the founders and the leaders of Mujeres para Translatinas en Acción, based in the Tenderloin, and I would like for her to be added as well.
Thank you so much for bringing up Lisette Sanchez. All right, in Lisette's name as well, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Y'all.